Story of the VFW logo.
Here we go.
The official logo for this post, 5867.
Okay.
I mean, I know that because he told me.
Yeah. That was you said your brother.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
He was 2 years younger than me.
Okay.
He died at 53.
Oh, wow.
Had a massive heart attack. He died the same way my dad did.
Jeez.
Heart attack in the bathroom. Gone. That fast.
Wow.
All my dad's family, probably then the girls. There were 2 girls in the family. And there was 11 of them.
Yeah.
So 9 were brothers. And only 2 of the brothers didn't die of a heart attack. They all died before they were 60. My dad was the youngest at 43. But they knew there was heart disease, but they didn't do anything about it in those years, you know.
Nobody knew that. Or if they knew that it wasn't a big,
You know,
not like today.
Like
where,
if my dad would go like this, my mom would go, "Do you have a pain in your chest?" He said, "No, it's just indigestion. I'm fine."
right.
There was no conversation over it.
Yeah.
Just let it rest.
Different time. Yeah. It's
Yes.
just different mindset.
Yeah, they didn't go to the doctors.
Yeah.
They didn't know shit. According to my dad, they didn't know nothing.
All the doctors.
Yeah, they didn't know nothing. They were just practicing.
Yeah.
That's why they call them a physician.
Yeah.
A practicing, a general practitioner. Because
Yeah.
they don't know anything. They're just practicing. Really?
Yeah. They say, I don't want them practicing on me.
No.
That's funny. funny idea, anyways.
Yeah. He enforced that in my mother's head, too. I'd say, "Mom, you need to go to the doctor." Why? They're not going to tell me anything I don't already know.
Yeah.
Really? You have a degree, Mom?
Kind
Yeah.
of stuff like that.
Yeah. It goes on, you know. They had a jail down here for rodeo weekend, and he had a committee that would help him set it all up, and they had someone that wore a trench coat. His name was Doc Trussell, and he looked like he was part of the Wild West.
Oh.
So he was like the keeper of the jail. You pay so much money to put somebody in jail. Like if you were sitting at the bar, I could walk up to my brother and say, "Can we put Matt in jail?" He goes, "Any special reason?" I said, "No, just because I want to." "How long you want to keep him there?" "How long can I keep him there?" "As long as you want." "Can he get a drink?" "Yes." "He can't come out of the jail, but we'll take him a beer. If someone wants to buy him a beer, they can buy him a beer. You cannot because you just put him in jail, but somebody else can buy him a beer." It was a fundraiser. He got money for the post that way.
Wow. Where was it? Where did they have the jail?
Right out in front on a trailer. It was like a wood box. It had bars on it. It was so cool.
This was your brother.
Yes. And I have brought his picture so you could take that picture. Copy that picture.
Definitely. Yeah.
This is kind of how he looked.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, definitely. I'll take a picture of that and then
Can go along with the thing downstairs.
you bet. Yeah, and I'll take a picture of that and then I'll have them within the
Kind of the story, but and he wore hat and boots all the time. You know, boots to work with the gas and electric, boots down here.
Yeah,
When his daughters got married, he got hat to match the tuxedo, boots to match the tuxedo.
Nice.
Everything had to match.
And what was his name? Bud?
His name was Andrew Joseph,
Oh,
but they called him Bud.
Okay.
Bud Hughes. And the only reason they called him Bud is when I was little, they didn't call him Andrew, I called him Buddy. He was my buddy. You know?
Yeah.
We were 2 years apart, and I
okay.
respected this man immensely because he was a good father, he's a good husband, he's a good brother.
So you gave him the nickname Bud.
I did.
And it stuck.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
So Andrew
Joseph.
Andrew Joseph
Hughes.
Okay.
And that's what it says on the seating tile, Andrew Joseph Hughes, Bud.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense now, yeah.
He had a lot of fun. He had a lot of respect from most of the comrades down here. It's in any organization, they're going to find someone to pick on. Mm-hmm. Usually it's the commander.
Yeah.
And he started with the hamburgers on Saturday.
Yeah.
He called them Bud in the Box. And someone said, "Why are you going to name it that?" He said, "Because," he said, "when they have someone to pick on, Bud's in the Box." So he said, "They're going to be Bud in the Box burgers." They had steak fries, all pretty much the same thing. But you know how people complain, well, my steak had a lot of gristle or my steak wasn't cooked right. So he goes, we're going to eliminate all this BS. Now, you can come for steak dinner. You'll pay for the dinner, but you're going to go upstairs. You're going to pick out your steak, put your name on it. And when it comes time to cook, you're going to go upstairs and cook your steak. Then you can't complain if it's not cooked right. Now you can't complain if there's gristle because you picked out that steak. No one did. And that worked for a long time.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And yeah, when was this? Like what time frame?
He was commander 80 to 81 and 81 to 82.
Oh, okay. So
then he went into the district, past commander.
That seems to be the path. You do it here. You do it at the post, and then.
Yeah. In fact, I don't know this for a fact. I just know from a very dear friend. He was in the district, and the district wanted him to move up into national, but he had already withdrawn some funds from his retirement to go into the district, and he didn't object because he wanted to do that.
Right.
In fact, when he died, the night he died, that day they had a VFW District 1 loyalty picnic. He wasn't going to go to that picnic. He was disgruntled with a few people.
Yeah.
He told his wife, we're not going to the picnic. She goes, are you sure? He said, yeah, I'm sure. About 15 minutes later, he came out and goes, are you ready? She said, for what? He said, we're to the picnic. She said, you just said we're not going. He said, well, I changed my mind. Just like you could change yours, I could change mine. We're going to go to the picnic. He said, I have to go. I have to see what has to be taken care of. I can't have this being disgruntled. He didn't like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
He wanted things to run smooth. So he came back home after the picnic. He met with his neighbor up the hills. The neighbor said, how was your day? He said, it was wonderful. He said, I made a mess with whatever had to be done. I feel at peace. I'm comfortable. When I said to her, I'm going to bed, she found him on the floor. But he went with peace. So, and that's how I feel. He went with peace.
Yeah.
He had done everything he wanted to do.
Wow.
He made peace with people that he was disgruntled with. And then was able to say, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Interesting.
He was an awesome man. I have very high respects for anybody that's in that position because they don't know that person well enough. They don't sit down to really understand them. They don't realize what they go through. They go through so many different things, you know.
Yeah, lots of different.
They have a home. They have a home life, and the home life kind of is on hold.
Yeah. For
a while, for however they sit in that office as commander, that life at home is on hold.
Yeah. Because
they don't have time to be home and down here. He was. If he walked in and you were sitting someplace, he hadn't seen you, he'd come over and say, "What the hell? Where the hell have you been? Where the hell have you been?"
Yeah.
We had a member that would come in regularly. Always sat in the same spot where the bars, where rails are to order. He would sit on the stool right next to it. Well, the evening Bud came in, and he would sit by the pole, 3 chairs in, where that pole is.
Yeah.
He would sit there. Well, there was a gentleman already sitting in the seat on this side. And then the regular member came in. He walked up to that gentleman that was sitting. He goes, "Excuse me, sir, you are sitting in my seat. I need you to get up." And the man looked at him and said, "Okay." And I was there, so I know it's true. So the gentleman got up. He said, "Yes, sir." Bud got up off of his chair. And Bud was a big man. He was tall, 5'11", had a nice big belly on him, but gentle soul.
Yeah.
He walked over and he said, "Sir, do me a favor. You sit right back down. You do not have to get up for him."
Yeah.
He said, he called the gentleman by name, our member by name. He said, "You do me a favor. I'm going to ask this man to nicely get up for a minute." So he got up, and my brother looked at the seat and he goes, "You know what? I don't see your name here. Your name is not on the seat." Right. He said, "Do you want this stool to be just your stool? Then you take this stool and every other stool at this bar out, and you have names put on them. Then you can say these are your stools."
Right.
And then you can say, "This is mine." Other than that, he said, "You go find a stool somewhere else. This man is going to sit right here."
Interesting.
You know?
Yeah.
And he didn't blink an eye. He could go to...
It's like accountability, like
yeah.
having to hold people accountable to what they want.
Jim took him to a bachelor party one night, and he stood for almost 3 hours telling a joke, different jokes for 3 hours.
Wow.
And they used to say, bring him back again. You know, he's like comedy hour. We don't even have to pay for it. So, but he had a good rapport with people. You could interview Robbie Nuku. Robbie knew him well.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
He knew Bud.
I could ask him some more.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that know him.
Yeah.
There were people that I had commented on Facebook about him. One lives in Fayetteville, Arkansas right now. And I said, do you remember Bud? He went, oh, hell, how could I not forget Bud? You know?
Yeah.
Someone else lives in Utah, said, many good times and laughs there.
Nice.
Which is nice to know. You know,
yeah, definitely.
That he made an impression. He made a big impression on my life.
All right, so it sounds like Bud had built a legacy that, you know, because I always hear people talking about, I want to live forever, right? And but they always want their body to live forever, right? That's kind of their idea of living forever. But the one idea I've always had about living forever is like legacy, right? How do you build your legacy? Do people continue to talk about the things you've done over the years? Some people build legacies that are good, solid. Some are not so good. You know, you could probably think of a lot of people that have different types of legacies. But Bud sounds like he built like a good, solid legacy.
And that's why I want to be interviewed, because I don't want it to die. Because he loved it so much, I want it to live on.
Yeah.
And if I don't talk about it, who's going to talk about it?
Yeah, and he was a commander here, so. And you said between the 80s, like...
From 1980 to 81, 81 to 82.
Okay. Yeah. How did he end up becoming the commander? Like, what led up to him being the commander?
There was a gentleman in town that had a barber shop whose name was Jerry Baker. And Bud used to go to him to get his hair cut, and so did my husband Jim. And he was recruiting, getting members, asked Bud to join, kind of played out for a while, whether they joined or not. So 6 years after Jerry Baker was commander, Bud became commander. And they joined, I believe, under Jerry Baker, but they didn't hold any positions at the time. And Jim never held a position. Bud said, okay, I need a life member, and you're not a life member, so you're going to become a life member now.
Yeah.
And he became a life member under my brother.
Okay, and Jim being your husband, Jim?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, what about Bud's service? Tell me a little bit about Bud, his service.
He was in the Navy, and I don't know what shipping, but he was a storekeeper.
Okay.
I know there's different types of storekeepers, but he didn't talk about it much.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's like my dad. My dad was a storekeeper as well in the Navy. Yeah, and he went with the CBs and stuff like that.
He didn't talk about it much, you know. He just went in early and went in with his best friend from high school, and came home on leave and thought he was on his own until he decided he wasn't on his own, because he lived in my dad's house. And my dad managed to stop him at the top of the stairs and said, "This isn't a hotel. Down here."
This is not a hotel.
It's not a hotel. You know, you're not going to come in all hours of the night. And my dad's sitting up waiting for him.
Yeah.
My dad forgot he was 19 or 20 at the time, but was his boy.
Yeah. Sometimes kids don't remember that, even though.
Because they don't want to remember.
Yeah, the parents, like we still maintain that parenthood in a sense, you know.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
So, do you know any units that he may have served with? I know you said he didn't talk about it much, but...
No, I honestly, I don't.
So he just, But he was in the Navy,
yes,
storekeeper, served on a couple ships.
Yes.
Nice. Wow.
I know he was in Italy because he brought my mom home a nativity scene, which nice. I now have, because my mother got something else and didn't want it, so I said, well, I'm not getting rid of it. Came from Italy.
Yeah, that's cool. You know how long he served? Was it like a couple years, 4 years?
I think it was in 4 years.
Yeah.
I can't tell you too much about that because I was still at home and I had already graduated and I was working for a bank.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, that's cool though. But it's interesting that he was the commander here at Lakeside where we're sitting right now, right?
Yes, and he got here because I had moved here.
Yeah.
I met my husband Jim in Illinois. And then when Jim moved out here in 66, and then I came out in 67.
Yeah.
And then San Diego Gas and Electric had gone back to Illinois recruiting linemen to come out here. So Bud was recruited to move out here. My mother had remarried, and my stepfather was going to move my mother out here because I was pregnant with our first child. She wanted to be out here, so my mother wanted to be out here. My mother was getting ready to go tell Bud, I'm moving to California. And he met my mother and said, guess what, Ma? I'm going to California. And he beat my mother out here. So then he got his job with Gas and Electric.
Yeah.
He was working with them, I would like to say, not more than a month. He came home and calls me. They let him go because he didn't have the right credentials for California.
Oh, man.
And he was terribly upset. He moved his family. And
Wow.
he was devastated, but he could talk to me. And as a grown man, Bud would shed a tear. He said, Norman, human being. He was crying. He said,
Yeah.
what am I going to do? I said, who let you go? And he gave me the man's name. I said, give me his name and telephone number. He said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to do my thing.
Oh.
So I did my thing. The next day I called the gentleman and I said, how can you as a company, a business, a corporation, go all the way to Illinois to recruit people and then let them go after a month? Why didn't you know whether he had the right credentials in the first place?
Right.
Why would you do that?
Oh.
We kind of had a conversation over the phone. I said, well, you're going to fix it, or I'm going to the radio station. I'll go to whatever radio station I have to. I'm going to curse the gas and electric company.
Yeah.
And this man said, wait, hold on, Mary. I said, no. That's my brother and his livelihood. So
Yeah.
he got his job back the next day.
Well, I'm glad. 'Cause
Me too. And then Jim and I were living in Lakeside. Bud was renting in El Cajon, and then Bud bought a home here in Lakeside, and that's when he met Jerry Baker. And
Yeah.
got involved, and he loved the country town, and he loved that it was Rodeo USA, and that's why we have the hat and the boot. Rodeo USA, right here in Lakeside, in this
Yeah.
little nothing town.
All right.
So,
Yeah.
and he
So-
loved it.
Okay. Well, that's a good segue into the boot story. So tell me more, and we'll get back to the other stuff
Okay.
if we have time and
No
we
problem.
want to keep going. But the boot story. So he brought the boot. Tell us more about the boot and how that came into being.
Because once he started being involved in town and being that he liked everything about it, they had a store downtown called, just a minute, I gotta think it's called, the Lakeside Department Store.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of Western wear in it. Well, Bud would go in there with Jim. They carried a Levi man pants that were kind of, I would say, heavier than gabardine, but was Levi brand. And they came in all different colors. So they were dressy. And when he came down here, he wanted to be dressed up.
Yeah.
So they bought every color. Between the two of them, they bought every color they had in that store. The lady that ran it, I think her name was Stella Carmack.
Yeah.
And she would say, you guys, you're buying me out? I got to keep ordering. Good, get some different colors,
Yeah.
And then he bought boots. He went to Tijuana a couple times for
Sure.
whatever my sister-in-law wanted. He was walking past the different boot stores, and one of the gentlemen came out and said, hey, cowboy. And Bud would go in and goes, can you make boots? See. So he bought 2 pairs of boots made in Tijuana.
Oh, like
So
special made.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So he wore boots all the time. And
So he bought into it because Illinois, that's not how you dress in Illinois.
oh, no. He wore shorts and flip-flops.
Yeah. So he came out here and bought into the whole
Yeah,
the whole thing.
He lived his whole life that way.
Interesting. So the boot that we see, and you'll see some pictures if you're watching this. I'm going to have some pictures that will flash up every so often of the boot downstairs.
It's always a dark colored boot.
Yeah, your brother's picture, and then I got a T-shirt that my daughter wanted that has the boot on it.
Yep.
And she specifically said, I want that T-shirt with the boot. She didn't want a VFW shirt.
She wanted the boot.
She wanted the boot.
You
Yeah.
bet.
So I'll probably take a picture of that and put it on there too. So
Cool.
so the boot. is that how it got implemented here? He wanted something to represent the lifestyle.
That was
of
his
Lakeside.
his legacy was the hat and boot. He wanted to be remembered by that. He wanted this post to be remembered with the boot and hat. And he said when he was commander, he said, "I'm going to put this VFW on the map."
Yeah.
And due to what I've heard from friends of his, he did as his through his commandership get Lakeside VFW on the map
Sounds like it. Yeah.
of the VFWs. He worked hard at it.
Yeah, and it seems like it's still going today because the boot is still here.
And some of the T-shirts that have the boot on it were not him. They just whoever different commanders came in must have taken that boot and put it on when they were commander, which is, I mean, it's fine, but it wasn't a white boot. I can tell you that it was always a dark boot.
A dark boot. Why? Yeah. Is there a reason behind the dark boot, or?
That's all he ever wore were dark boots.
Yeah, so
brown, black, navy blue.
Yeah, just to kind of depict the typical cowboy boot that we see is the darker colored cowboy boots. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So yeah, it definitely still is because even on a T-shirt, I don't remember. I'll have to look at it, but I think it might be a white boot.
Uh-huh.
So we might have to change it back to a dark boot.
Be nice, but you know,
so
they might change the color of the T-shirt, then not make it navy blue. You know.
Well, the one I got is more of this color.
Yeah.
So
brown would look good on that.
Dark boot. Yeah. So maybe that's something we have to
talk about.
Yeah.
Might have to have a fundraiser just for that.
Just
just for that.
Just for the boot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. But that's interesting though. So he wanted a symbol. And that seems like a very good symbol for here, because like you said, the rodeo, you know, and I remember you talking earlier about the parade, that he would go into the parade every year. Is that the same parade we see now?
Yes,
That's the Western Day Parade?
Yes, and they did have a float. Mm-hmm. The VFW had a float. They had, I think the gentleman's name was Bob Ford, and Bob was friends with him. And he would bring in his tractor trailer rig, and they would decorate it for him, or the VFW would decorate it. And they said, "Bud, are you going to be on the floor?" "Oh, hell no! We're going to walk it."
Yeah.
In my cowboy boots, and that's a nice walk.
Yeah.
And
That's
he said to Jim, "You're walking too?" Jim goes, "Really?" "Yeah, you're walking too." And they carried their rifles or pistols.
Wow.
On.
True Western Day then.
And there was a group of ladies called the Winchester Widows that rode horses along with them.
Wow.
When they got done with the parade, they ended up back here. You could not walk in the front door of the VFW downstairs. Oh. It was packed. It was packed. The Winchester Widows come in, and everybody in town that could come in came in.
Yeah.
You know, they had burgers that day. They cooked the burgers outside on a barbecue.
Yeah, right out.
Yeah, right
outside,
outside.
Yeah.
They cooked the steaks right outside. But they had a good time.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've only been here, right? So I've been here since about 2020. So today is May 9th, 2024. I've only been here, 4 years. But in the time that I've been here, I've seen a similar kind of camaraderie and community help, participation, and that kind of stuff. Now I've only seen it for this 4 years, and to me it seems like it's still pretty good. Does it measure up to the 80s and 90s kind of time?
No,
or
the times are different now.
Just times are different.
The times are different. It's not just as necessarily the leadership. Times are different,
Yeah.
The membership, when he was in, they all really bonded more as a group.
Yeah.
There wasn't trouble getting anybody to help you because they all were there to help.
Yeah.
Where today, it's hard to get people to want to help.
Yeah. Definitely.
I want to give up my day. I don't want to do that, but it's hard to get people to want to do it.
Yeah. And at that time, was it a lot of World War II veterans and Vietnam veterans? Around that time, it seems like it would be,
It probably was. You
yeah.
know, there's some of the veterans here now that I don't remember being here when he was in office, but
Yeah.
then
But it seems like that, you know, the time frame seems.
when he was here, unfortunately, Jim and I were going to Okinawa, Japan.
Yeah.
You know, we were gone pretty much. We left at probably the ending of his first year, and didn't come back to the ending of his second year.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't get to see a whole lot. You know.
Yeah.
I got to hear a whole lot,
Sure.
either on the phone or through letters or when I got back. But
Sure.
I know there was a lot of friendship, and I mean,
Yeah.
there's ladies now in the district that remember him.
Wow.
You know, and said, that was family. I was at his house all the time swimming in the pool. I
Yeah.
did this all the time. I did that all the time.
Yeah,
You know,
nice.
and it makes me happy to hear that, you know, because
Sure, yeah.
it's a tight bond, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, definitely. Did you have any other siblings?
I
Or-
did. I had another brother who was 63 when he died.
Wow.
He was in the air, and when he was commander, Bud was commander, they had a baseball team here.
Yeah.
And they said, Bud, you're going to be on the team? Oh, hell yes.
Yeah, he did.
And someone said, he can run. Let me tell you what, he
He
could
could.
beat all of them.
He could, yeah.
He was a big man, but he could beat all of them in running.
Wow.
He was fast.
Huh.
He was fast.
Well, it's been great talking to you. I would love to set up another time. I appreciate your time for sure right now.
It's not, I appreciate you doing it because I wanted it to be clear that the hat and the boot were my brothers.
Yeah.
That nobody else, they just picked it up, and that's okay. But if you're going to pick up somebody's logo, make sure you take the whole thing. It's
Sure.
not just the boot; it's the hat and the boot.
Hat and
You
a
know?
boot.
It's a hat and a boot.
There you go. Now, last thing is, do you have any last words for anybody that's listening to this?
Pay attention. Pay attention. Realize what you have and be happy with what you have. And join the VFW because it can give you some of the best years of your life. I've had many, so you can come down and enjoy too.
Well, thanks. We know you'll welcome whoever comes in here.
Absolutely.
So
Anytime.
appreciate your time.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, Mary Ellen, take care of yourself.